Today is the 13th of November, which is on a Thursday. I had not a busy day, but I had some events happen in my life. One was my interview. I enjoyed my interview, but before my interview, I had to have a chat with the person who I had a problem with, who caused a lot of mental trauma, and the reason why I do these types of reflections nowadays, right? So, so today, I encountered this point. I didn't have a fear, but this person set up a meeting, and I just decided I'm going to have my mind set up on looking to manage whatever comes out from those meetings, right? So what I did was, in order not to give control much to that person, I decided to pull other people into this call. So I brought my Scrum Master, who had no idea about all of this, but he knew this could potentially blow up on our faces. So that person was brought in. Then we eventually had another person who was actually a product owner from their point of view, but he's an amazing BA, definitely. So he's an amazing senior, I would say a principal BA. He's really good at what he does. So he came out to support me actually through this probably a turmoil that might happen in any minute. So they were all there, and then she started talking about what she was asking for, and definitely I knew what she was asking for, and I know that the other person who's working with me would not know all the answers because she's so new, not so new, but she's just familiarizing herself with this whole industry, right? So I tried to keep calm. I was about to record the meeting because I was preparing for anything to go wrong, right, in this meeting, because you don't know what she's going to say. She just doesn't know how she needs to behave in a meeting. So therefore she also knows that we both are cautious, because I'm also not going to let her off the hook this time, right? So that's my plan. Thankfully, it didn't have to go into that, because other people were involved, were also present in that meeting. Things started to change, the dynamics. They all took care of the first part of the agenda, and tried to pull things together. Once that happened, I think, there was pushbacks between everyone, and eventually, they all wanted to know how we handle this moment. I'm glad that I had the courage to stand up and say what I had to without stuttering, and I made it very clear as to what will happen for what that person needs, and therefore it all settled down. I guess she said she'll send an email, so let's see. I'm looking forward for that email. Right now we don't have an answer for. That's the point blank thing that I need to explain to everyone. So I left it there. I didn't say anything. I had nothing much to suggest. Just kept quiet, and said the final words, and concluded the meeting from there onwards, right? And everyone let me, or allowed me, to say what I had to, and everybody said okay, thank you, Jinsi, and I was left at that point. And I was glad that that's what happened. And then came my interview, and I was very clear. I felt so confident to say that to a project director when he said, oh, you'll be given a task and you have to work on it on your own. And I said, well, sorry, I'm a BA. What do you mean by working on what type of task are you? I tried to, and they understood. I really want to be very clear, because again, this project is again in aged care industry. So I could see that there is this behavior that is kind of probing around organizations, that they don't want anybody to talk. They just want them to do something. What are they doing? God only knows, right? So I said I'm a BA. BAs collaborate. Once they collaborate, that's my role. That is my essential role. And then we produce a document. That can be a silo task. Is that what you're asking for? Because otherwise that's a danger you're getting into. And then they said, oh yes, of course, Jinsi, that's what we want. I made it very clear. It doesn't matter if they take me or not. I'm at this point in my life where, that we have to know what our role is and what our responsibility is, and it's okay to say that to someone. This is how it is. And if they don't prefer that, that's not your place. And if you don't get a job, and that's where I was coming to, what will happen if I don't get a job? I won't fear. I should not fear, because that's what's caused all this mental trauma for me. And I won't do that. Because all of this is vanity, as Ecclesiastic says, that, God gives wealth, possessions, honor to people, and yet, God does not give him power to enjoy them. Someone else will enjoy. So I guess I have only this much of amount of years in this world. I don't know what it just looks like, right? So it is better to enjoy what God has given me, and also be confident in what he's made me into, right? Doesn't matter if that's not what fits in those puzzles or organizations I need to be in, because God has a plan, and his plan is perfect than mine. And I overcome whatever difficulties that I go through, and I get support from people, genuine support. And that's what I felt through this week. I genuinely felt support. It is not about talking about what I went through. It is about showing up when I needed it most, and they did so, and I was so happy and overjoyed with that approach. So I was thankful, and I said thank you to them a couple of times, and I want them to know that I genuinely am thankful for how God has brought people in my life. And I found things that again is God's plan, providers or whatever had complaints, and I was asked those questions, and I felt valued. I didn't know the answer, but I knew how to connect people. What value God has in me is not meant to be put to shame, but he will use me in his time. That's what I want to say. Sorry, I got emotional because of being so thankful to God. My children and I had a great day after that, so I just wanted to send that. It did blow up a little bit. My daughter was, messing up the kitchen, but we said things and we were all fine in the end. So thank you so much for listening in to my interesting day. Tomorrow is going to be a joyful day, as my husband James. So he's going to turn 45. So yes, God bless.